welcome back to the Hawkins Do You Copy podcast. My name is Lauren.
And my name is Emily, and in this podcast we talk about all things Stranger Things.
And today we have another bonus things episode, and we are finally going to be talking about the Stranger Things and Dungeons and Dragons collaboration comic book series, which was a 4-issue series. It finished just at the end of February, I think. So we have all 4 issues now. They have arrived. We have read them. We have thoughts. We're going to share the thoughts.
Many thoughts.
Yeah, we have many thoughts.
Some good, some meh. But you know, I mean, overall, they're not bad. They're not bad. Are they canon? We'll talk about that in a bit. But before we get into that, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts at Hawkins Do You Copy, on YouTube at Hawkins Do You Copy, and on social media, so on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Hawkins Podcast, and then Tumblr at hawkinsdoyoucopy.tumblr.com. It'd be really cool as well, actually, if you can, why stop at one platform? Interact.
Exactly. Come everywhere.
Maybe mix it up a bit. Maybe you're like a Spotify kind of person one day, and they're like, actually, gonna move over to Apple. Who knows? Maybe you fancy it one day. We'll see.
I think that like people don't realize that actually having followers on every platform is really, really helpful. So even if you do use Spotify and you're not even going to use Apple Podcast, go over there and follow us anyway, because it really helps. Every statistic sort of really helps our podcast, and we are sort of a little bit overwhelmed with how many people have joined recently in like a short space of time. It's been quite nice, so we would really, really appreciate that. And you can hear us talk about Stranger Things, and today Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah.
So it was a 4-issue comic. I think we said that a second ago.
That's fine.
4 issues. I want to say it started in October, November.
Yeah.
Kind of like
yeah, because I saw the preview in September. So yeah.
I was really excited about it at first, and I thought it's really cool because I think it was promoted, especially the first issue, as you're going to see how they're all mixing and how the party met each other.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought it was really, really exciting. I was really looking forward to it. It's not. Oh, we're starting on such a high note. It's not that I didn't enjoy it. It's not. But there are a few things in it that I thought, and we thought, to be honest, when we've spoken about it, that there's things in the show that didn't need to be retconned, and there were a couple of retcons.
There were a lot of retcons, and it's annoying because the thing with such a comic book series is that why would you choose scenes that were in the show when you could use bits that weren't in the show to then you don't have to retcon anything. Like, in my opinion, the best one is issue 2, and we'll get onto it when we go through the issues, but issue 2 exists in its own little bubble as it exists within the show, but in a scene that we didn't see in the show. So nothing had to be retconned. There didn't have to be anything that had to be corrected, whereas issue 1 retcons some scenes which you just don't include it. If you get freedom to do stuff within and without the show, just don't include the scenes in the show, and then you don't have to change anything. Or if you are going to include them, make them right.
So I like to think of about the Will Byers comics. So I always forget the actual name of it. It's about going through to the other side or another side.
The other side. That's
the other
Kingdom
side. Hearts. That's Kingdom Hearts.
The original, you know what I mean? The OG comics, the first ever bonus content that we had, which was
first Will Byers comics. The way they did that, it worked, and I still say probably out of all of them, they're the best ones.
Yeah,
and they work because they work with the canon in the fact that you never see his side of the story.
Yeah,
and you can watch. And like I've been public. I say like it's like a statement. I've been public in the fact that I have told people, if you're going to do a rewatch of Stranger Things, don't read the comics until you've seen season 2.
Yeah.
So like the first set. So watch season 1, season 2. then read the comics, and then do a rewatch, because you kind of pretty much map where Will is, and it kind of adds a new line.
It's really cool.
The other day, didn't realize he was at his own funeral. But like things like that. But then I think with moments in this, like issue 4 is a weird one for me, because it kind of does what issue 2 does, in the aspect that it shows us a scene that isn't in the show, and it can work because we have those 3 months where we're wondering what happens to the buyers and what's going on. But then I don't know,
it ruins it at the end. The absolute out of all of them, issue 3 is the worst. Like issue 3 is a mess, in the nicest way possible. We're going in, right? Should we stop being mean, and should we go in issue 1, talk about what we like, talk about what we don't like? Let's be critical people, and critically analyze it in a good way and a bad way, because critical doesn't always mean bad. It means that you are just picking something apart. And let's go
in general, sweeping statement, to be honest, the comics are not as bad as we're making them out to
not
be.
As bad as making them out to be. Enjoyed them. You get a little bit of bonus content, little bit of stuff, lovely party moments, sweet moments. I enjoyed. I enjoyed. I had a fun time.
Yeah. Still looked forward to each one as they were coming out. It was like, okay, issue 2's coming out now. If we didn't enjoy them, we'd be like in the bin with you. You know what I mean? Like
I have multiple editions of them. And I just want to say, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're not, why aren't you? Come and follow us on YouTube and subscribe. I have these covers, which I don't know if you can see, which look like D&D manuals, which I am obsessed with. But I also have this one, which is the issue 4, in which this is just phenomenal, right? This is a phenomenal cover. And I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have bought loads of comics if I didn't want them and didn't like them. But no, issue 1, let's start with issue 1, is set pre-series. So it's set September 8th, 1981. So the party are 10 babies. Cute. And this issue sort of focuses on them finding D&D and discovering D&D. So it's actually Mike and Lucas that discover it first.
Oh wait. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Because they go to Will. Sorry, I was like, excuse me, Will buys Erasure.
No, Will, I'm getting there. So Will and see, I'm doing it now. Mike and Lucas discover D&D, and they go and tell Will about it, and they're like, this is this amazing thing. We ran into this bookstore because they were running away from bullies, and we found this amazing, really, really cool game that the guy was playing and he had set up, and it's amazing. And I thought that was really sweet, and I think it's really cute that they just went and told Will, and they were really excited about it. They then take loads of Joyce's books to sell, which I just feel like would just not happen. I just feel like that is a very Will wouldn't steal his mum's books to then sell. And also Mike coins Will the Wise,
which is one of those ones I've seen a few times, I think, on Tumblr spoken about, where arguably, yes, it could be a thing. It could be a thing, because the way he does it, he goes like, so join us, Will the Wise, and
on this epic quest.
There you go. On this epic
something
quest.
like that.
Which would, it makes sense if he's trying to get him to get involved in it. But I don't know. Maybe I'm making it up, but I thought it was Will made up Will the Wise.
So did I. It's, do you want to be a wizard and cast awesome magic spells? Then join us, Will the Wise. Join us on this legendary quest.
Full drama from Mike Wheeler.
As always.
Yeah. But no, I really thought he made it up himself, which, I mean, but to be honest, out of all the retcons that issue 1 made, it's not the biggest.
No.
And we can pass that. But the big one for me, and I think it has been a big thing kind of on the internet, was the Castle Buyers. Castle Buyers moment. Which very much is not how it happened in the show. No. So in the show, we obviously know that Castle Buyers was built, and we hear this from Jonathan, on the day that Will's dad left. Yeah. And they went out and they built Castle Buyers. In the comics, the party all build it together as a D&D escape.
Yeah, which is obviously not how it went down.
And it's one of those things. It's frustrating because part of me kind of does like the idea that they built it together like this is the D&D thing. But then I think when you've got a moment like that, so obviously said in the show, you can't, out of all the moments you could retcon, you can't really retcon that, because especially when we look at season 3 then past that, when the idea that he then goes and destroys it. And I like to hurt myself thinking about the fact that he destroyed his only safe space. And
I thought you were going to say he deserves it.
That would not be my branding at all, really.
It's like, what are you going for here? But no, there's like this little montage where they are doing things, and you see Nancy as the elf. Do you know, in season 1, I quite liked that when he's like the time she dressed up as an elf for our Elder Tree campaign, and that was kind of cute. And it was little things like that I liked, and I really liked already you start to see how they apply D&D to their real life. So they like name the teachers and say the teacher is like a gargoyle and stuff like that, which I really liked. And then it's just like, why put in the castle? You just didn't need to put in the castle buyers stuff. It just didn't need to be put in, and then there would be that would be fine, you know, it wouldn't be there. They also meet Dustin, which is possible to fit within the show. Dustin says that he came in 4th grade, and 4th grade 9 to 10. The internet has told me. I did not go to school in America, so I do not know if that is completely accurate, but 4th grade is 9 to 10, 9 and 10. So he definitely could have, but he meets them in the cafeteria and mentions about D&D, and they sort of all get on, and that's sort of how that friendship is born, which I quite liked. But yeah, the castle bias bitch. And there's also a scene in the comic where Dustin is wearing his Camp Nowhere outfit. It doesn't say Camp Nowhere on it, but it is definitely the Camp Nowhere outfit. And unless he goes every year and we just never see.
Yeah.
But
this is actually quite a big thing in the comics in general, though, that weirdly, I don't think Will does too bad on the costumes wise until we get to issue 3, which we'll get to in a second. That they seem to give him original outfits. But then everyone else is kind of just wearing things that they wear in later seasons. So for example, actually no, we will mention issue 3. But you've got Elle and Max there, that it's that kind of pre-makeover. And Elle is very much dolled up in her stuff that she'd buy from the mall. And you think that canonically that's in there. And I mean, obviously I'm not an artist on a comic, and maybe it's just okay, we'll use the reference material, but I don't know, it's little things like that where things just don't fit, and it kind of puts the I can't pronounce the word, what am I looking for, canonically, is that the word I'm looking for, or I'm just making something up?
Canonically is when it's canonically correct, so that's what happened in the show. And
I feel like there's another word, the continuity.
Welcome to the Hawkins Do Coffee podcast, where we don't know words.
Not canonicity.
Canonically.
That's going to be the new word, canonicity. Okay, the continuity. It kind of puts that into, I don't know, it really kind of messes with that a little bit.
Yeah. I think no, sorry,
no, I don't know, I think I just made a sound, to be honest.
But no, see, issue 2 is probably the most correct one. That's set after season 1, where Will is still in the hospital, and they sort of go and visit him, and they're talking to him, and Mike, I really like this one actually, Mike has sort of this really interesting, not even moment, but like he's dealing with one of the quotes that I really liked was, now the monsters are real, how can we go back to playing a fantasy game, because we've just dealt with something so scary. I've just, Will almost died, I saw Will's body, he watched Elle die, and they've dealt with all of these things, and he really sort of has this moment where he's just thinking, I don't know how I can create a campaign anymore, I don't know how I can do this, because we've had to deal with this in real life, and now I don't know what to do. And I really, really liked that one. This one's set November 23rd, 1983, which is obviously when, just a couple of weeks after. And then Will gets discharged. Mike has a moment with Nancy, which is really sweet, and also gives us the iconic line, go away, Nancy, this is my domain. Which, brilliant line, phenomenal line.
A+. All the awards just for that one line.
So Mike Wheeler. Like, I don't think I have an issue with this comic. I don't think issue 2 retcons anything. I don't think it misses anything. I think it genuinely is just a really lovely party moments, psychological sort of dealing with that trauma moments, and Mike and Nancy have such a lovely conversation, and Nancy really helps, and it's really, really, really nice. I think issue 2 is the best one.
Yeah, I agree. I really liked issue 2. I thought it felt really Mike as well. I know you kind of said that, but it did, like, from what we see in season 1, and even lining up with what is going to happen to him in season 2, that it just really just fits really nicely in that middle of that. And I think it really fits with my idea of who Mike is.
Same.
And I think the only thing that I was a little uncertain of, but this is just a timing thing, that is the campaign. What it kind of maybe suggests that the campaign that Mike's actually writing throughout the comic, because he writes one so the Will can, like, slay the bad guys, and it's really cute. It's like a really nice thing. You could argue that that's the campaign they play at the end of season 1
of the show.
But the only thing is, I'm sure that in end of season 1 it was like right before Christmas, because Will opens the box like, I think I've got an Atari, that kind of thing. But apart from that, I think everything just sort of slots really nicely within it, and it's just a really nice one. I recommend issue 2.
Just read issue 2. But no, issue 2 is really nice, and I think that issue 2 is the one that I sort of really enjoyed the most. I wish all of them had been issue 2 vibes, I think. Issue 3, however.
So we open the first page to an absolute attack with Will Wise at the door.
Yeah, but this is set May 18th, 1985. So season 3 has not happened yet. And then the first page we open it and Will is dressed as Will the Wise, which I don't know. Where's the outfit come from? Why does he have it? Why would then in the show Mike and Lucas be like, oh my God, what is this outfit? How did you it? And like Emily said before, Max and Elle are just wearing the outfits that they buy in the mall in July, in May.
Yeah. I think it's just, I don't know, it's odd. It's an odd issue. Like the Will the Wise stuff you can kind of explain, but then their reactions also don't quite make sense, because Mike, I think it's Mike that speaks when they're like, what is Will wearing?
Yeah.
Where he's just sort of like, oh yeah, he wanted to wear it.
Yeah.
Why would you not stop him?
Yeah, and like
he's just kind of sitting there, just like this wizard hat.
And yeah.
Like, okay, cool. I don't know. I just feel like if my friend had just like turned up, I'd kind of be like, Will.
I hope you know that next time me and you see each other in person, I'm just going to show up wearing that hat.
No, you are absolutely.
And I'm not going to comment on it. I'm just going to wear a hat. But no,
but like you would though, wouldn't you? You'd just be like,
yeah.
Are you sure?
Are you sure? Are you
sure you want to go down today?
That you want to wear the hat? But no, it's just odd. Like Dustin's there, but he's supposed to be at camp, kind of. Or
no. In fairness, in that issue, he does say, I think it's like the day or something before he's going to camp.
Okay.
Like right at the end, because he's like, oh, I'm gonna be away from the summer, and Will's like, but we haven't finished the campaign.
Yes, no, you are right. Yeah,
we'll just play it when they get back, and they don't.
And they don't. But then like Mike says he's not going to be the dungeon master because he wants to impress Elle. So could Will run the campaign? And it's like, okay, he wants to impress Elle, but it sounds like that kind of sounds like they're not quite dating at that point, but they are. We know they are, and they were, and then the way he acts around her is really, it's just a bit odd. Like it just everything felt off in the comic, and there's like a bit where they hear a noise and Elle goes to find out what the source of the noise is, and they all just run into Nancy, and Nancy just falls over, and it's just never addressed that Nancy's just on the floor, like, and it's just, I don't know, like, we get to see a lot of the fantasy elements, and that's something which goes across through all the comics. There's obviously scenes where they are their characters fighting as in D&D, because it is a Dungeons and Dragons collaboration, so obviously there's going to be a lot of promo for D&D in it. But issue 3 just really felt like, okay, we're trying to fit it within season 3, but if you have May, you have a month that we didn't see, so it can be all new material. You don't need to retcon what we've already had. You can make new stuff.
One thing also with that as well, that if you've got one of the rats, which we know was the Mind Flayer situation thing, but that's, I'm presuming that's what they're going for, otherwise the Wheeler house really maybe need to investigate a rat problem. Will surely would feel something, because it's been, I mean, it was pretty much hinted, wasn't it, that when they're on the field in season 3, and you, I mean, Will doesn't see it, but that rat runs past and he's kind of, you know, does the neck touching thing. The, I don't know, does that suggest then the first time Will feels anything is when they're in the cinema? Because his reaction doesn't really seem like that. And I feel like if the Mind Flayer is already doing something, he would be able to kind of sense a little bit what's going on. I don't know, but to be honest, Will in the comic was pretty much just like, but I'm this, I'm that, which I get they were probably trying to set up a bit for what goes on in season 3. The you know, everything goes down. A lot of the comic kind of, as you said, it kind of set up the things what's happening in season 3, but not really giving the complete payoff. That it was kind of it was almost like going into the surface, but they're not really fully getting there. So like we have Mike a lot of times like, I just want to do things together. Elle doesn't need to do this all the time. I thought we could discover the mystery ourselves, you know, like as a team. But then we don't really, I don't know, it's just that's the thing for me that felt odd. Because like, don't worry, Elle, I'll help us. And then the rat makes a noise and he's just like, ugh.
No, it is.
I don't know. It's
the way that they all are, and the way that sort of Will is in season 3, where he's like, we don't do this anymore, we don't play these games and stuff, and then for them to be playing this game here, and Mike wanting to use D&D to impress Elle 2 months later, what, he doesn't want anything to do with it. And then also Will says to Dustin when he gets back to camp, they've been like this all summer. Surely Dustin would have seen some of that then, and I don't know, it's just but then they've been like this all summer really interested me anyway, because they've supposedly been together since the snowball.
That's what you presume.
But is it that this is only because summer they don't have to go to school, so they're spending more time together? But then Dustin would have seen that in May, so there's just a couple of lines and a couple of comments that just don't quite sync with the show, and that's what's frustrating, because issue 2 was so good and it really sort of just like slotted in, and to be honest, so did issue 1, aside from like the Castle Buyers stuff, but everything else in it did fit in with the universe, and we did get to see these extra bits. But then issue 3 came along and it just kind of it was like, oh, we need to do issue 3 now, and it just kind of ignored the show.
What it almost was is that they were suddenly like, oh, we've got Max and Elle now, so we need to get Max and Elle in it. And I don't know, and it's obviously they're going to be involved, but it felt like almost like they didn't need to be involved. And I don't know, that's what I felt from it personally. It was almost like they were kind of just slotted in, because their reactions are very much like, we don't know what we're doing. And like I was like, so how does this work? Is it real? Do I use my powers? And it's a bit like, I don't know. It's kind of it kind of like, it goes to do things and then doesn't give enough. I don't know.
I agree. I agree. And I think issue 4 was a mixture of all these things.
It was all the things combined, issue 4.
It was all the things combined. We get to see, it's like the buyer's last day, or like last couple of days, we get to see them go to the bookstore that they've got their first game from, and then they find out it's closed, and it's kind of sad. But then they're like, well, we can play one last game of D&D, but then we're supposed to believe that in that final scene in Stranger Things when they're packing, before that, literally moments before that, they played a whole campaign.
Yeah.
Which they didn't do. that didn't happen.
There is no way that they played a full game of D&D and then hugged it all out.
No.
To then go be like, okay, back to my boxes.
Yeah, they absolutely did not. Yeah, no.
No.
And
I don't know, and it's not even a thing you can say that, oh, maybe it was a few days later, because they make a point of, I can't remember if it's Will or Dustin that makes a point of being like, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
We're going now. And I don't know, because obviously at this point, I think in the comics, everything is boxed up. Like there's nothing around in the house. And then it goes into the moment where, and then it goes into the moment where Will gives away the D&D set, which actually, in fairness, I quite liked the way they did it in the comics, because it had like a nice conversation towards the end.
Yeah.
Retcons it slightly because we don't see Mike leave the room as well. But the way they talk, and he's like, well, I don't need it anymore, because I learned from Best, and it's like,
and I like,
it was like a night. It kind of brought it all together.
Yeah, and I like that he got that last game. I like that he had that last game with the party, and then he sort of has that I don't want to join another party sort of moment, which I think is really nice. And really nice of Will to do that, and the rest of the party to just ignore that and join another party anyway. But that's neither here nor there, and we're not talking about it because we've definitely not seen anything. But yeah, there were aspects of this which I liked, like Lucas said about Max, and she was dealing with a lot to like give her space, and Elle getting upset and saying, I just don't want anyone else to die, and then pausing and then thinking, in the game, I don't want anyone else to die in the game, and sort of using that things that have happened to them, and obviously her dealing with Hopper and Max dealing with Billy, and I liked that kind of exploration. I think that was quite good, and I think those are things which are probably going to be expanded on in season 4 anyway, because I think they're going to be sort of struggling with that. So
I'd like to think that the moments like that are I don't know, I like to think within the comics there's like little things that maybe pepper towards things, because obviously they can't. It's Jodie. Is Jodie Hauser? Is that her name? Yeah, Jodie Hauser. I may have butchered the pronunciation of the surname, but there we go. That obviously she isn't gonna know completely what's going to be in later seasons and stuff like that. So they'll be given, I think they said before, they're allowed to almost go into whatever they want, but they've been told they can't touch number 1. But they will be given maybe some kind of outline. I imagine just being like, okay, so even if it's a case of like season 4, Elle's going to be dealing with this, Mike's going to be dealing with that, Max is going to be dealing with this. So she'll have some kind of idea, maybe what it is. Because if she, hypothetically speaking, if she suddenly went, oh, okay, Elle died, actually, at the end, before the end of the game, you know what I mean? It wouldn't then make sense. So she'll have some kind of idea of what's going on. So I'd like to think that that's maybe our season 4 hint.
Yeah. I would like to think that there are sort of aspects, and obviously it must have to be approved, by Netflix or the Duffer Brothers or Sean Levy and stuff. There has to be some kind of approval. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate these comics. The second one is really good, and I love it so much. And there are aspects of 1 and 4 that I adore as well, that I really love, and sort of the way that the sort of elements have been explored, and the party dynamics. I think the party dynamics were really good because we didn't see a lot of the collective party all together in season 3 because so much was happening. And then obviously with the Byers and Elle going, honorary Byers, Elle moving away with them, like we're not going to see the party together in season 4 much either, I'm assuming. So
if at all, I'm going to presume we're not going to see them together at all.
I know, which is sad. And it's kind of like, I don't know, these comics really felt like it did, that final comic did feel like those final party moments, like, okay,
like there's one moment where they have a group hug, and it's just really, it's really nice, because you can see that they're all just like, even with like the drawing, it's like we're all together and this is the last time, and it really just kind of bring everything together, and it's like, yeah, D&D is the root of it, and you know, if people want to join another party, that's fine.
No, it's not.
But it was nice to see the original party just have their last moment, I think.
Yeah, and the last page, because obviously through these, if you are watching on YouTube, there will be pictures in that you can see, but obviously because this is a Dungeons and Dragons collaboration, there's lots of artwork of the characters as their D&D characters, and you get to see these fantasy elements. And actually in the very last page, there's them all sat around a campfire, like toasting, and it says maybe someone else needs to learn that they can be a hero too. And they're all around each other, it's all around a fire. And then it's interesting because it's this big fantasy thing, and then in the corner is the donations box to just show the real world and this world that they've lived in and has become such a big part of their friendship. And you know, they've started to apply these fantasy elements to areas of their life and different parts of their life. And I don't know, that just really felt quite nice, and it did feel sort of like a finality thing.
Yeah. On that note, have I got it right that Will kills off Will the Wise in the comics? Or pretty much, doesn't he? That. Yeah. So I think that's kind of interesting in itself, because especially when we have that thing of, you know, I guess within season 3, Will's kind of journey is growing up and childhood being destroyed and that kind of thing. So it's really interesting that he kind of, as he's leaving, he lets go of that character,
And
which then
donates
ties
the
in really,
box.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, ties in really nice with that, and donating the box away to someone else. And I don't know, it's moments like that I wish we could see stuff like that within the show.
Yeah,
because I don't know, it's weird, because I feel like I've complained about them adding in scenes that don't need to be added and expanded upon, but I think moments like that, I think it would have been nice to just have a bit more behind it, because yeah, but there we go.
Yeah, one thing I did really like, which isn't part of the story, but at the end of every issue, there was each character. So it went, so Mike was in issue 4, issue 1 I think was Will. I can confirm. Yeah, so it's like you get like a spare D&D sheet, and then you get their D&D sheet. So it's like player's name Will Byers, character's name Will the Wise, Dungeon Master Mike, fire magic and strength and all that stuff, and abilities, and it's really cool. And like I said, Mike's is 4, and then obviously Lucas and Dustin's 2 and 3, but I'm not sure who gets 2 and 3. But I thought that was really nice that you get to see their like player guide and like who their sort of character sheets and that kind of thing. It was just a little addition, but I thought it was really cool to see, and it was nice as they went along, which was cool. But no, I did like them. I would give the comics out of 5 3.5.
Yeah, 3.
I'll do 3.25.
There we go.
We'll do 3.25, and then we'll balance out the reviews.
There we go. I don't know. There were a few nice things in it. But we got apparently Mike's birthday.
Bonus content. Love.
Yeah. 7th of April. He's in Aries, because of course he is. And like little things like that. So we got those details. I don't know. Obviously, we haven't seen it in the show, so I don't know how much weight we can put on that.
Yeah.
But I think in general, people seem to be agreeing that okay, Mike's an April baby.
Yeah. As 2 April babies here, we do not complain.
No, exactly.
Best month.
Also not complaining that both Will and Mike are my star sign. So you know, things like that. And I don't know. I think my biggest issue, and this is kind of like an overarching theme for it, was that to me it just seemed, and I get why it was, because it is literally Stranger Things x Dungeons and Dragons, but it felt a little bit to me like an advertisement for Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah,
and like especially some of the lines in the first issue where I don't know, it felt a little bit like you really needed to know the game to get it, because like there's moments with like, oh, this is happening now, this is happening, that's happening, and I thought it's great if you're involved in it, that I I will admit I haven't really played Dungeons and Dragons.
I'm gonna DM Emily's first D&D game soon, which is fun.
There we go. You know, like that. So maybe, I don't know, maybe if someone was reading it and they had played it, they would understand a bit more. But it's not that I didn't understand it, but a lot of the references I just thought it seems like we're expanding a lot when maybe we could have just kept it a little more on the down low. That it didn't make me think I want to go and pick up D&D right now. Like, I feel like it would be a game that I would really, really like.
Yeah.
But the first issue didn't make me think I need to get some 12-sided die. I need to get a board. I need to make my own campaign. To me, it was just like, you're overwhelming me with information.
It did, like when they go into the bookshop and it was very clearly set up as a look at all the things this game can offer, and then it's just so much information, and you're like, okay, all right, you know, obviously if you're reading this comic, you're a fan of the show, so we understand what D&D is from the show. You don't need to be like D&D. Like it was a lot. It was a lot. I agree.
Yeah. I'd be interested to know, because I think they've done a few other like ex D&D ones. I want to say they've done Rick and Morty and a few like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll look on the website later. I'd be interested to know if they follow a similar route, and so they'll make it kind of, we give you loads of D&D information, or if they've done it because it's Stranger Things, we know it's a big part of it. I'd be interested to know that. But I think that is my biggest issue with it. More than, I mean, obviously apart from the
issue 3,
like retcon, issue 3. As like the retcon issues aside, I think to me it just didn't need to be as big an advertisement for D&D as it actually was.
Yeah, we know, like, whether you know the intricacies and the ins and outs of D&D, you know, if you're picking up this comic, you have an idea of what D&D is.
Yeah, exactly. Even if it's on like the very baseline,
basic,
like my knowledge is that I know, okay, so it works this way, works that way. I don't need to have it explained to me in full detail why I should be playing the game.
No, exactly. We're just here for party content, you know. That's what we want. We want just bonus information.
Was lovely.
It was.
You said the party content was lovely in it, and on the whole, it felt pretty in character. As I said, like issue 2, Mike, spot on.
Perfect. But I wanted more party, less D&D advert.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. That like in issue 3, when they're playing the campaign, I felt like we could have made that more about the party, and because like the rat subplot, it seemed to then kind of really throw us out of it. It's things like that, I think, that if they'd stuck to that and maybe had a hint of the rat before, rather than they're playing and suddenly you have that sound effect and the crack in the wall, it was suddenly like, okay, what are we doing now? Why are we now suddenly here? And then Mike's thing of, I just want us to do it all together, doesn't really fit, because he wasn't like that with Elle when they're playing the campaign. He's just like, I have a new character. I am now Mike the Great, or whatever it was. And I don't know. It was just
I agree. I think like
the illustration where Mike's like got his head dipped.
Yeah.
And like put his hands on his shoulders. And he's just like, I just wanted us to all do it together. I don't know why. I just think, get over yourself, Mike. Like, calm down.
Oh.
I want to say I like Mike Wheeler as a character. I feel like I talk about him badly a lot. I do like him. That's why I'm allowed to be mean.
Exactly. But no, I did like, and I think Elle and Max being in it, in that sort of felt like, oh yeah, we need to explain D&D to them. But while we're explaining it to Elle and Max, let's explain it to the readers so that they want to go play D&D. And it's like, you don't.
Yeah.
We don't need to do that. We don't need that. No. But yeah, we'll go with 3.25. Some aspects we liked, other aspects they could have not done and done a little bit better, but that's fine.
There we go. I
We
feel
all
like
live and learn.
I feel like this has been like a full half an hour of us just going rubbish, wrong. No,
we bigged up too. We on this podcast, we're critical. We critically analyze. We can make fun of Mike Wheeler. We can make fun of things. It's fine. It's okay. It comes from the heart because we care.
Yeah. In conclusion, give it a go if you haven't read it. Is it canon? I'm not considering it canon.
No,
personally. If you want to consider it canon, consider it canon. I don't know, like it fits, it doesn't fit. It's up to you. I think there has been a discussion. I say recently, it was probably like a little while ago now. I have no concept of time since lockdown. About how much like the bonus content is canon and how much we can put into that. And I think just like take it all with a pinch of salt. If you want to consider it canon, it's as canon as you want it to be.
Exactly.
As I said, personally, the only one I considered canon, I'd say, was arguably maybe Suspicious Minds. And then the Will Byers comics.
Yeah, I consider the Will Byers comics, Suspicious Minds possibly. To be fair, I do consider Darkness on the Edge of Town canon.
Oh yeah, that one can fit. I think that it's far enough out that it can work.
Yeah, and also the Halloween standalone.
Oh yeah, the Halloween standalone was nice as well.
But that's because that's just pure, so I need it to be canon for my own personal gain, my own personal serotonin boost. I need that to actually be something that happened. But yeah, these ones I'm gonna say nice bonus, but I'm not considering it a thing.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thanks for listening.
Yes. Sorry.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts at Hawkins Do You Copy. You can catch us on social media on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Hawkins Podcast, and Tumblr at hawkinsdoyoucopy.tumblr.com, and then on YouTube at Hawkins Do You Copy. All the places. Say hello, greet us. We're not going to complain.
Exactly. Come follow, come like, come chat. We love it. But for now, thank you for listening, and we will see you next week. Over and